Inspired by burlesque legends such as Gypsy Rose Lee, Dita Von Teese, and Josephine Baker, Evana has honed her skills to create sensual and energetic performances, showcasing her passion for dance and her talent as a performer. Evana has toured Australia and New Zealand with sold-out performances and burlesque workshops. In 2023, she was voted Best Burlesque Performer in Australia in the Australian Adult Industry Choice Awards. As well as performing, Evana is a sought-after burlesque teacher and mentor with over 20 years of dance experience, covering jazz, tap, ballet, contemporary, and commercial dance styles. She has previously taught at Maison Burlesque in Melbourne and has taught over 2,000 students at her own burlesque workshops in Australia and overseas. Whether you're a seasoned performer or just starting out, Evana's classes and workshops offer a unique and intimate experience designed to help you develop your skills and confidence. Welcome back to the Burlesque Bulletin podcast. I'm your host, Honey Holloway, and today I am so excited because we have Evana de Lune. Hi, Evana.
Hi.
How are you going?
I'm so good. I'm so thrilled to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. I will try not to fangirl too much, to be honest, because I mean, you know, you're a bit of a big deal to me.
I appreciate
and to the
that.
world.
I don't think I'll ever get used to that, but thank you.
So before we get into all the fun burlesque questions, I always like to ask this question. What is your zodiac sign?
I love that you asked this question. It's incredible. I am a Aquarius sun, a Gemini moon, and a Aries ascendant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you have so much Leo energy. I was like, where is the Leo in the chart?
Absolutely none.
None. You
None.
have no Leo?
None. I'm mostly Aquarius and Capricorn, across the board.
For sure.
So that kind of probably balances out into some sort of flaming beast.
Yeah.
But mostly air, 6 air signs.
Oh my God.
And a fair bit of earth, a little bit of water, very little fire.
So did you say, was it Aries rising?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's the fire. Yeah. Love that. Okay. Well, anyways, we can talk all about that stuff later because
Sounds good.
I could talk forever about astrology.
I love that you do. I loved your last episode on
the zodiac sign.
That was very fun.
I was like, is anyone going to listen to this? I'm going to listen to this.
I think I was doing my makeup and I was just agreeing with you on so many. I was like, yes, this is very yes.
Especially
very
like all the Aquarius, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say I don't have an alien act, but I have done a Star Trek act. So I guess I have. Because I was thinking, oh yeah, that's a classic trope. No Aquarius would do that. I've done that.
Love it. Okay, so how did you get into burlesque?
That is a great question. I pretty much started burlesque out of a love for the industry, but I started dancing at a young age and was always too tall to do anything with ballet or jazz or anything like that. And then gave up on pretty much everything. When I hit 18, you sort of reach the end of your dance career, as you do when you hit 18. And
so old.
Yes, so old. Couldn't do anything. And I also just wasn't very competitive as a person, so I didn't really want to get into the dance space in a competitive fashion, like auditioning for roles and things like that. I wasn't very interested. So I took a big break, and then I ended up doing a workshop with Miss Alyssa Kitt about 3 years later. I think I was 22. And I just decided at that point that was going to be my life from then on.
Love it.
And it's been my life since then. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And how did you get your stage name? I'm very curious to know this answer.
Oh, okay. It is a play on my legal name.
Okay.
So it's a mix-up of my real name. And the reason for that is I wanted something that I would respond to. I wanted, in case someone said my name incorrectly, they might just think, oh, I just misheard it.
That's smart.
Because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And also I wanted something I wouldn't get sick of as well, because I thought, okay, this is going to be a name that I'm going to be stuck with for a really long time. So Evana was a very good choice for that. And then de Lune is, I actually have a very spiritual background. So my family was very spiritual when I was growing up. So My mum read tarot, is very into astrology, all the things. So the moon has been a really big symbol in my life growing up. So I wanted something that represented the moon. And so I sat on Google Translate for hours trying to find some sort of language or some sort of representation of the moon that worked. And I liked a multi-part name as well. I wanted something that had a lot of words. My legal name has a lot of words, so I wanted a really wordy name, but I didn't want it to be super long. So Evana de Lune took ages, but I'm glad we went with it.
It's such a good name. I feel like it is really like, and not a lot of people have it, like have something similar. Like it is, even though it's like, I feel like a lot of people have like the Von or something because Dita Von Teese, obviously. But de Lune is so like individual. And I thought it would be like Claire de Lune or something like that.
I love that song too.
Yeah.
And there's a really great act that Sally Rand did back in the 1940s to the song Claire de Lune where she does a fan dance and it's incredible. I'll send it to you if you haven't seen it.
Heck yeah.
But I was very inspired by that as well, and it just felt very classic. I also spent a lot of time researching, making sure that no one else had that name and doing all of that. I feel so bad for all of the baby burlesquers getting into it now, having to try and figure out something unique.
Yeah. And even just trying to get the handle on like Instagram or something, it's like impossible. So.
The second a new platform comes out, I'm like,
quickly get it. So how would you describe Evana in 5 words?
Such a hard question. I'm like, 5 words. That is, for some reason, too many words. You know what I mean? I think hypnotic.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you. I like that word. I think funny. I love things to not be very serious, so I'm trying to make funny situations for myself on stage all the time. I think classic. I really like classic burlesque, so that's what I'm going to say. Maybe glamorous. Because I love rhinestones, I love sparkly things. And then one more. Maybe relatable, I don't know.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. So who's been some of your burlesque inspirations?
There are so many. There are so many inspirations. I think if I'm thinking historical inspirations, Gypsy Rose Lee is definitely one of my number one inspirations. She was someone who loved to chit-chat on stage, which I love to chit-chat on stage, especially with intimate gigs and things like that. I like breaking that fourth wall, which was something that she did so effortlessly. She also wrote 2 books and was an incredible scholar, academic, and just a really great businesswoman all round. So she's incredible. I also really love Josephine Baker, not just for what she did on stage, but what she did politically throughout her life. I think she's really inspirational. And she was someone who couldn't fit into a chorus line. They pulled her out of the chorus line because she was too over the top. She was too engaging, too fun, too much. And so she made a career for herself relying on her special things, the things that made her different. So I love that about her as well. And then probably definitely Dita Von Teese. She's the best example of modern day success for burlesque. And we don't have a lot of examples of what a successful burlesque artist really looks like at a high scale in this industry. And she's doing it today. And I think that's super inspirational.
Definitely.
She's awesome.
Amazing. So what's your creative process, and does it like change depending on what act you're doing, or is it kind of the same? How does it happen?
The creative process is a wild time. I'm sure you deal with it too. I think you have no idea what's going to come to you. I think most of the time it's costume. Most of the time it's costume for me. I have a costume background, so I got my first sewing machine when I was 12 and I got into cosplay after that and did little short courses of costume design and was always really interested in the costume portion. But sometimes you hear a song and it's, when you hear that song, everything else goes out the window. And I think rarely it's the concept, but sometimes that happens. Like, for instance, my vampire act, that was the concept, and then the song, and then the costume. Like, but it changes all the time. But probably the costume, because I'll start thinking of pretty things and wanting to make pretty things, and then trying to figure out what song I won't get sick of after listening to it 1,000 times, which anytime anyone plays any of my songs, I'm like, skip it.
Oh, really?
Skip it. Absolutely.
Like,
if
I've
I'm
heard
not on stage, I do not want to hear it.
That's fair.
I do not want to hear it.
Yeah, I was kind of worried about like choosing one of my favorite songs and then performing and then being like, am I ever going to want to listen to it again? But I haven't hated it yet. So
see, and that's what you need for a song when you are choosing your acts. You need to pick something that you're not going to hate, because you're going to hate it at some point. Let it be later.
Yeah. So what does a normal day look like for you? Because you are a full-time...
Correct.
What would you call yourself? Full-time artist, content creator, all the things? Entrepreneur?
I would say a full-time artist, but it's full-time artist and full-time businesswoman, I suppose, because I think there's two kinds of days for me. I don't think there's ever like a normal day. I don't have a routine at all. I think,
oh, really? Don't have a morning routine?
Yeah, I do have a morning routine. Like I get up and I have breakfast and then the rest of the day from there is God knows.
So it's just breakfast and
breakfast, wash my face, moisturize my skin, and but that could happen at like 3 p.m. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that late actually. I'm pretty early bird. But I'm either traveling for work, doing the work, teaching a workshop, dancing on stage. That's that day of the week, which is usually Thursday to Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is just organizing the work nonstop, emailing and replying to messages and making sure that something is happening. There's so much admin that goes on when you are a full-time performer that you kind of never stop working. So that doesn't, there's not a normal day. Yeah. You never know what kind of day you're going to have, which is fun. I think it's really interesting, but it's a very strange lifestyle. For sure. I miss routine a little bit, which I'm sure if I had
a 9 to 5, do you really?
I don't think I've ever had a 9 to 5.
Really? Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I can't do a 9 to 5.
I don't think anyone can actually do a 9 to 5. Like, I've tried and I've been like, why do I just hate everything. Like, that's why.
I think most people who are drawn to the arts are people who cannot do a 9 to 5 because I have done like 9 to 4 or 10 to 5 or done things within that realm, but I've always done them very poorly. Anytime I ended up getting another job, it would be something crazy. Like I used to work at the airport because I like a 6 till 2, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't like because you just say all of the sunshine is to corporate. No, thank you.
Exactly. No. And you want to have like 6 till 2 is good because then you can have your afternoon to like do what you want to do or like chill or whatever.
That's it.
Lie in the sun.
I mean, I wouldn't do that, but
so do you have any pre-show routines or rituals?
I think I do. I love to get ready at home. I'm not one of those girlies you'll ever see me in the backstage room unless I'm having some sort of day and I didn't have a chance to go home or I'm going straight from somewhere to somewhere else. Like if I was teaching that day and then had to jump straight into getting ready, then that's the only time. But otherwise, I will always be getting ready at home. It's going to take me 2.5 hours. I'm playing the songs that I'm going to be performing to that night on repeat. When I get there, I'm doing my deep breathing and I'm getting into the zone. I love a little bit of affirmation. I don't say it out loud. I'm not that kind of person, but inside I'm having a little chit chat because, you can get anxious or you can get nervous or all of those sort of feelings start to come up. And I always love to just breathe and relax into it and try to remind myself, I'm amazing, I'm incredible, I can do anything. I can hypnotize anyone with just one look. And like I tell myself these things all the time because, thoughts can get really overwhelming, especially when if you can hear the audience like from wherever you are or anything like that, you can start to build up, okay, these people are going to have expectations or anything like that. So I think my affirmations very frequently to get out of my head. and to just remind myself, chill out, girl. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, for sure. So it's good that you have that time at home, because then when you get to the venue, do you like to socialize a little bit?
I think you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very difficult to go into a backstage situation, and if you are the kind of person that wants to shut all of that out and you want to say, I don't want to talk to anyone, which is totally fine. Of course, you have the right to do that. It's probably not going to do so well for you in the long run. I feel like everyone is quite social because everyone's excited and the energy is picking up and you're hyping each other up so that you can hype everyone up.
True.
So if you're someone who needs your alone, quiet time, you're not going to have that possibility for engagement with your co-workers. So you kind of have to. And there's definitely days where I'm like, I wish I could just sit in the corner and do nothing, but you kind of have to. And it's good to push yourself in that situation too, because you get an opportunity to get yourself a little bit more hyped as well. And you just join the hype squad and everyone's trying to uplift the energy. So I definitely will get ready so that I can socialize and I'll be in the best possible position to be the most helpful person backstage, or the person who can answer any question or help with anything that I need to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you could choose to share a dressing room with someone, who would it be? And it can be someone who you've already shared a dressing room with, or like, I don't know, Dita Von Teese, like it can be anyone. Or even not in burlesque, I don't know.
How exciting.
Yeah.
I feel really lucky. I've shared dressing rooms with so many people, and a lot of the people that I would say I would like to share a dressing room with are like glorious artists that I've worked with overseas and people that I don't get to see very often. I think this career can be sometimes a little bit lonely in the way that you make some really incredible connections and then they're on the other side of the world. So if I had to say anyone, it would probably be Gina.
Yeah.
Gina Sterling. I would love to share a dressing room with that girl again. But I have, so many beautiful friends in this industry and I would love to share a room with so many people. But yeah, I miss you, girl.
Yeah, especially since she's so far away now.
I know.
Sad.
I know.
If you could swap lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
It's such a dangerous question.
But it's only a day, like,
yeah.
Because when I was talking to Lily, she was like, oh my God, I can't answer this question. I don't have anyone. I love my life. I'm like, well, that's an amazing answer first.
Yeah.
But also, like, you can just be you 5 years from now, just to,
this is true.
see a snippet. And it's only a day. It's only a day as well.
For a day, I would say Dita Von Teese.
Okay.
It would have to be, because I would just love to see what a day looks like for her. And I would love to see the ins and outs of her business and how she runs things and how involved she is. And just, I want that fly on the wall experience or that interpersonal experience of actually being there and being in that moment and seeing what it's like to put on those large scale shows and just to see what her lingerie collection looks like too.
Literally, I was going to say I would love to just like wander around her house and like be like, this is my house, like just for a day.
It's my house.
It's so fabulous and like this, it's just eccentric and like amazing and like,
her house tour was
I watched
level.
that so many times.
It's beautiful. It's
so,
beautiful.
So stunning.
Goals.
Yeah, literally. Goals in all the ways. Like
yes.
So what's a random or surprising fact about you that maybe not a lot of people know?
I went through my Google Analytics recently and I had one person look me up from Antarctica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Random. That is so cool.
Yeah.
You should like message them specifically.
I wish I could. Because
figure out who it is.
I want to know if it's a penguin, you know?
Or a polar bear.
That'd be so exciting.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're just like a penguin on the internet.
That's just, I would never think. I would never think that a scientist would be interested. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Who is that person? Oh my God. If you're watching this, let us know who
yeah.
you
Oh my
are.
gosh, that'd be great.
That would be
wild.
wild.
Hit me up from Antarctica.
What's been one of your favorite highlights? Like, I'm sure there's been literally a billion, but what's something that's like top tier?
Honestly, I have such short-term memory that
something in the last,
it doesn't
in
feel
last day then.
It would definitely have to be putting on my very first touring show here in Australia. I did Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. And it was that initial moment of coming out on stage in Melbourne to over 500 people.
Wow.
And just having them scream at me.
Literally.
I mean, there's the video of that reel of where the fans open and I explode out. And that is the moment where I hear them for the first time. And there's something really intense about standing there and you're kind of like giggly because you've got your two really great friends behind you, like fanning you, and we're like okay guys, it's gonna happen. And then boom, and just hearing the voices of 500 people scream at you, it's otherworldly. It kept me up for a week, I think. God. I didn't sleep for...
How did you, like, keep a straight face? Or, like...
Well, I didn't.
I would have been like, hee, like...
Well, you see that moment on my face as well where it falters because I was so overwhelmed in that moment. And also just seeing that many people there for you, it was such an unbelievable experience. And then go to Sydney and Brisbane and same. It's 500 to 600 people at every venue and just feeling so overwhelmed but so... I don't think I've ever been that happy. Aww. And I'll be chasing that feeling forever. But it was incredible.
That's amazing. I'm so sad that I wasn't there because I was overseas. I'm like, that's the only reason you wouldn't be able to get me there is because I was not in the country. But
you'll just have to come to the next one.
I definitely have to. So what's been some of the not great moments? Maybe some stage malfunctions or just the low points throughout your burlesque journey?
It would definitely have to be my family's opinion of what I do. I think when I started burlesque and when I started doing what I do, pretty much everyone in my family was worried and concerned and had an issue with what I was doing. They thought negatively about the industry and they were concerned about me not being able to get a job in future because of the online look of it all, and were encouraging me to get a backup job or have a backup, which I'm a feminist, so I pretty much said straight out, if you don't want to get on board, you don't have to, that's fine, but I'm not going to stop because I really like this. I'm really passionate about what I do. And then now to be where I am, to feel all of this success and to be in this position of genuinely doing really quite well in this industry where you can't make money and you can't do anything, and to still not have that level of encouragement or that level of appreciation from your family members. It's not, oh, wow, you've made it in an industry where it's basically impossible by all, personal accounts to do anything very successful. And then it's just like, oh, okay. Okay.
It's not appreciated.
Cool. Not at all.
I'm doing crazy things and like not many people have done this before me. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate that it's not appreciated, but so many other people see you and
I have a lot of validation.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
okay.
Okay,
it's
good.
okay.
I'm glad.
But if there was a low point, it would be not being able to share it with my family.
Yeah, for sure. So what's a surprising lesson that you've had to learn or a challenge that you've had to overcome?
Injury. Injury. It shouldn't be surprising because you're a physical person and you should be able to foresee that this could happen or will happen. I think dancers, we put our body through hell, and I am always testing the limits of my body. I am always going hard and absolutely going home at the end of it. And last year I got quite injured at the end of the year, and that put me out of work for about 2 months, which was not just a physical strain because that was very painful, but it was very mentally painful to have to cancel things, to have to sit on the back burner and not be able to do anything, especially because I'm such a physical person. This job is such a physical job. So I'm very active. I exercise a lot. So not being able to do any of that is a surprising challenge to overcome. So I tell everyone, please do your warm-ups.
Literally.
Do your warm-ups. You need to be warming up your body. Not that this happened because I wasn't warmed up, which was also another brain-breaking situation, but it was just unfortunate. And these things happen. They happen to everyone. No one is safe from the limits of their own body. So if something ever feels risky, don't do it. You don't have to do it. And adapt. Make sure that you're doing things safely.
Yeah, for sure. So what's a favorite thing that you like to do outside of burlesque?
I usually don't have an answer for this because I usually don't do anything else.
Yeah. It's chilling.
It's usually rhinestoning and doing other burlesque related things, but I've gotten back into reading books. Which is really nice. It's really nice. I'm living in little fantasy lands.
Yeah, that's a good little escape.
And then if I had more time, it would definitely be playing The Sims.
I love The Sims.
I love The Sims.
What Sims do you like?
Sims 4.
Really?
Well, it's the most recent one.
Yeah. I am a Sims 2. Like Sims 2,
the best one.
It just Sims 4, all the other Sims from then on are just so bad compared to Sims 2.
Sims 2 had such great storylines.
Yes.
So much lore.
You could do so much. And like, I literally, side tangent, I made the whole like Buffy universe and Charmed universe. I made the whole house. It took me so long. And that was like my greatest achievement.
If you have pictures.
16 or whatever it was. Well, I don't because my computer crashed. It was the saddest moment of my life.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
I know. It's really hard. So, but now I go and play Sims 4 and I'm just like, it's not the same. It doesn't hit.
But I think if you take that up, like if you take away that expectation that it's ever going to be what it was, then you can play it. Because I have the same thing. I want it to have that same, I don't know, I feel like the alien experience of, I love that we're just talking about the Sims, but I love that really large separation that you felt from them, and you were so limited in what you kind of could do, but that kind of made it more interesting because you were just working with the constraints of what you had. And now it's a lot more limitless, but you have to spend so much more money to have the same experience, which I just keep sending the money.
Oh, yeah. It's not the same, but at least we have it.
We do.
So if you could travel back in time and talk to yourself when you started burlesque, what would you say?
I would say so many things. Little baby Evana. I think I would say if you want to treat this like a business, learn something about business and just learn it sooner. Not that I haven't done that since, but if you're really serious about burlesque and you want this for your life, treat it seriously. Go take some classes in whatever you want to get better at. Get business advice, get an accountant ASAP. Stop spending all of your money on rhinestones straight away. Like sit with it. I think invest your money wisely. I think there's so much excitement when you get into burlesque that you're instantly drawn to, I'll get that outfit and I'll start working on that. Oh, no, I want to get that outfit. That sounds exciting. Oh, no, I'm going to get this thing and this thing and this thing. And then you just have your big tub of things that you're working on that will never come into fruition, that you then end up selling on to the next baby performer. And then, the cycle continues. But I think, be a little bit more cognitive about what you're doing rather than just being excited and just jumping in the deep end and which I learned a lot, evidently, and it's fine. I'm doing great, but I just wish I saved a little bit more money. And just save time in that way too, because I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't give myself permission to do it very professionally for quite a long time.
A quick thanks to Cam Attry for sponsoring the Burlesque Bulletin, and for all his hard work behind the scenes, filming and editing the podcast. Cam has been involved in the burlesque industry for over 12 years through his photography and videography. If you are a performer looking to get promo photos and video, or a producer looking to get your show photographed or filmed, please contact Cam through his website, camattry.photography, or find him on Instagram at Cam Attry Photo Video. And now back to the episode. What about some best advice and some worst advice and some bad advice that you've been given?
The best advice that I ever got was from Juniper Fox.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if she remembers saying this to me, but she said, your performance is a droplet in someone's week.
Oh.
Which basically means you can do the best performance or the worst performance in your life, but your audience member has lived an entire week outside of your 5-minute performance on stage. And by the end of next week, it'll be just a little droplet in their entire experience. So you might think you've done the worst thing ever. You might think that, oh, this performance was the worst one. Everyone hated it. You can have your own opinions about what you thought of your performance. Your audience member, by a month's time, probably won't even remember. Realistically, when it comes to an audience, it's obviously great to do your best and always strive to do your best. But on those days where you do think, oh my gosh, that was just horrible, that person's not going to remember in a month's time. They're living an entire life outside of this. They go to work every day. They've got all of these things going on. They're not going to think, oh, that person didn't point their foot 1 minute into their routine. Like, no one's thinking that.
Yeah.
So that was a really great piece of advice, because it put into perspective, even though that this is your entire life and this is all that you focus on, your entire audience of people literally don't care. They literally don't care. You're just there to make them feel good for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they go back to having drinks and sitting with their friends. So it's not as much pressure as you put on yourself, because it's just a little droplet in their week. It's just a little droplet. Sure. It's just 5 minutes in an entire week. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was great, because that took a lot of pressure off me and has taken a lot of pressure off me. At the end of the day, I think my saying based on that is, at the end of the day, the clothes come off and the people say woo. And that's all you can ask for. And then the worst advice would definitely have to be, there's a lot of social media advice that people give each other on the internet and throughout this industry that is quite wrong. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of misinformation about what's going on with the algorithm and things like that.
Oh, okay, yep.
And I have a team of people that work for me, and I spend a lot of time on social media, and I'm constantly researching new trends, new things that are going on. I also spend money on social media and advertising and things like that. So I have quite a good understanding, and it constantly changes too. So that's another thing, is something that might exist today will not exist next week. It's constantly changing. The features are changing. The way that things move and adapt on the internet constantly change. So you have to constantly be learning. And so I see a lot of people give advice that isn't a thing. It's just not a thing. And it happens like daily.
Oh, really?
And, oh my gosh, yes. There's so much advice about how to use social media and what works and what doesn't work. And I see it, and I don't have time to sit there and say, well, actually, so I see a lot of bad advice going around on how to market and push yourself as a performer that isn't necessarily the best advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. We've never had that answer, so that's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What other answers? What's something common?
Oh, I mean, it is a hard question that sometimes people don't answer, but
yeah,
I can't remember now. But
it's hard to give negative responses, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like most people say, "Oh, it was like a backhanded compliment," like
classic,
or like some advice right after you get off stage, and you're like, just give me 2 seconds.
Thank you. Like, for that little tidbit I didn't ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate
thank you
so
for
much.
bringing me from here to here. Thanks.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely say, haha, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later.
How do you overcome imposter syndrome?
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. I can't believe that Lucy sat here and spoke about me for this, because I sat there listening to that and just thinking, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. I have so much imposter syndrome. I have so much. Everyone does. I think everyone does. And I think it's just how you let that affect you is the thing. Because you will always, as an artist, think that your work is not good enough. I think the more you start performing and the more you put yourself out there, the more you are able to receive criticism, the more you are opening yourself up to criticism. Performing is an incredibly vulnerable thing too. So you're putting your heart and your soul out there, and it's very common to think, what if nobody cares about my heart and my soul?
Yeah.
That's soul crushing. And so I think it's just changing your mindset and changing how you adapt to that, because I think everyone deals with it. And I know everyone deals with it because we all talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Or we don't talk about it and we just deal with it. And imposter syndrome is always there. You are always going to feel that. And I think even as you start to succeed more, I think people assume, oh, you've reached this level of success, therefore you probably don't feel that anymore. I actually think those feelings get worse the more successful you get, because you are receiving a higher level of recognition, which opens you up to more criticism, which opens you up to more, and you have to keep maintaining that level of perceived success or perceived
or standard.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So the pressure gets higher, and you think, well, why does anyone care about what I'm doing, or does anyone actually care, or anything like that? So I think you just have to then change your mindset and say, okay, I feel negative, or I have these feelings of anxiety because I want to do good. I have these feelings because I am trying to be my best possible person on stage. And so then you can sit there and you can work really hard in trying to get the best performance, or you can also just say, I'm just going to do my best and hope for the best. And I know I've put in my effort. I know that I've practiced, or I know that I've rehearsed, and I love what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do it anyway. And I think it's really important that you just do it anyway. You can receive all of the compliments or all of the negative feedback in the world, but at the end of the day, you're doing it for you. And if you don't love what you're doing and you feel that all the time, take a break. You don't have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
If you start having those negative feelings, distance yourself, come back when it feels good. But you should enjoy it.
Definitely.
And I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll definitely feel like an imposter about it. And I feel like an imposter. You sitting here saying you're going to fangirl me. I'm like, I don't know why, but thank you. So, you know, it's weird. I think it's a weird experience, but I think it's so common.
Yeah.
So.
And I think a lot of
Should be
people
right.
would like, it would give them peace of mind to know that, because, like, as I said, I'm a fangirl, but also a lot of people are as well. And they'll be like, oh, Evana's not going to have imposter syndrome. She's doing the thing. She's like, but
People say
nice
to me all
hear.
the time, wow, you're so confident. And I just sit there and I'm like,
You're like, yeah, it's a lie.
thank you. I know how to look confident, and I know
Yes.
how to appear confident, and I know how to portray confidence. So I train that. I always say you have to train your confidence. It's not something anyone's born with. And even if you are, you get it beat out of you pretty quick.
Yeah.
You go through school, you're probably going to get bullied at some point. You're probably going to get, you know, your sense of confidence destroyed a little bit at some point, and you're going to start to question yourself. It's crazy how we go through life, but at some point you have to start rebuilding that, and you might not fully successfully do that. And I think it's okay to question yourself, and it's okay to pull yourself apart a little bit and say, is this the right thing to be doing? Am I like going in the right direction? Is this good? You know, those are all very common and good things to do. So I think it's there for a good reason.
Yeah.
Or this is, again, me trying to tell myself something nice about the bad feelings that I'm having. I'm saying it's good for it to be there, because it's reminding you to stay conscious about what you're creating and to stay present with it, so that you can put your best foot forwards. So make it a positive thing.
Yeah.
Nerves and excitement can feel the same.
Definitely.
So make them the same.
For sure.
I hope you are enjoying this amazing episode with Evana de Lune as much as I am. We had such an amazing chat, and such a long chat, that we are going to put this episode into 2 parts. So I'm so sorry, but we're just going to have to tease it out a little bit longer, and you'll have to tune in next fortnight, where we will be back with part 2 with Evana de Lune.